Could the Baltimore Ravens be making some moves soon? Seems like maybe. Not one, but two different media sources target the Ravens as possible trade destinations. ESPN Plus, Last Word on Sports, they're the ones with the calls. We'll get into those in just a little bit. But before we do, I'd love for you to follow me on Twitter. I'm tweeting about the Ravens every single day. You can find me at Joey Peterson8. Very important. S-E-N, not Owen. If you look for Joey Peterson with an O, 8, you're not going to find me. You might find somebody else. Who knows? Currently, I've got 768 followers. Would love to get to 780 by the end of the week. You think we can make that happen? Go ahead and give me a follow, and we'll get started with today's video. So who is it that the Ravens might possibly be trading for? The first target, and this one was laid out by ESPN, is Jonathan Jones, cornerback for the New England Patriots. And I love this possibility. I really do, because I've talked about it pretty much every single day from the past couple days of how much this pass defense has struggled. And no, I don't think it falls all on the secondary. I think it has to do with the defensive line, with the linebackers as well, and with the first-year defensive coordinator, all just figuring things out. But if you're able to add a piece like Jonathan Jones, that's only going to help. Here's what Dan Graziano had to say about Jonathan Jones. He said, the Patriots have looked a little bit more competitive than expected so far, but they certainly could fade. And if so, Jones is a player teams were circling the offseason. Those seeking a cornerback could kick the tires once again, as Jones has 11 tackles this season, is only 2 years removed from a 4-interception season. And that's what I love so much about this possibility, is the fact that he plays on the Patriots, a team that right now seems like it would kind of take anything. We know they're struggling. We know they're in a new regime. And we know defense is not their problem. We know that offensive line is their problem, right? They need draft picks. They need players. So Jonathan Jones might be a guy you take from. Would you, should the Baltimore Ravens trade for Jonathan Jones? What do you think? Do you think yes? Do you think no? You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. So scroll on down to the comment section. This is the pinned comment. Give me a Y for yes and give me an N for no. Let's check in on his PFF grades so far this season. They've been pretty spectacular. 71 overall, 57.7 with his run defense. Not great. His tackling is 73.5, fantastic for a cornerback, and a coverage grade of 72.4. And now Nate Wiggins, newest rookie on this team. You saw him play his most minutes against the Cowboys on Sunday. He struggled quite a bit, right? Came out with a grade of 53.1 overall. Run defense, 62.9. Tackling was at 28.6. His coverage grade was at 51.5. Now, I'm going to need to see more of a sample size from Nate Wiggins before I decide this. Now, I really think he's going to be a star. But I think it might take a year, maybe 2 of maturation to get there. And I think Jonathan Jones is a guy that you could bring in, tag him on in there with Kyle Hamilton, Brandon Stevens, Marlon Humphrey. We know Marlon Humphrey's getting older. He had a good game against Dallas, but he struggled against the Raiders. And so Jonathan Jones is a guy that could come in here, maybe mentor Wiggins a little bit, and just be such an added piece to this secondary because it's one that needs it. If you look at the pass yards given up the past 3 games, it's the bottom of the NFL. 281 against Kansas City, 233 against Las Vegas. At that point, it's 257 yards per game, and then you gave up over 300 against Dak Prescott. So I talked to Allie Barefoot, our Patriots host. She said it should cost somewhere around a 4th rounder. Would you give up a 4th rounder for Jonathan Jones? Do you think the secondary needs a cornerback piece that much that you'd give up a 4th rounder? Or do you think it can be ironed out, figured out in other ways? Type HY for hell yes. Type HN for hell no. Before we get into the next trade target, guys, you got to go to chatsports.com/King Henry because we've got Derrick Henry jerseys for both women and men in the jersey form, in the jersey form, and it's all free shipping. Guys, the King stock is only going up from here on out after that game against Dallas. So head to chatsports.com to be absolutely fitted and dripped and show everybody in Baltimore or wherever you live that you not only love the Ravens, but you love Derrick Henry. So again, head down to that link right there. It's going to be in the comments and the description of today's video, chatsports.com/KingHenry, to get free shipping on anything Derrick Henry. The next possible trade target, and one that I think might be a little more likely, is Devin White. Currently with the Eagles, spent the first 5 years of his career with Tampa Bay, and Anthony Pelosios of Last Word on Sports had this to say about Devin White. The Ravens could invite the idea of bringing White to boost the production of the team's pass rush. Kyle Van Noy has been dealing with some injuries, but he's a healthy scratch, so White might be able to get additional reps in John Harbaugh's defense. Is it the White time for Devin White? He spent 5 years in Tampa Bay. Again, this is his first year with the Eagles. He signed a 1-year, $3.5 million contract with Philadelphia this offseason. And here's the kicker, because in the offseason, he was named the starter. It was under his idea, it was under Sirianni's idea, that he was going to be starting linebacker. But then he got beat out by Nakobe Dean. And missed the first game of the year with an ankle injury, and these last two, he's been a healthy scratch. So do you want him? Do you want Devin White? Because when you look at these PFF grades, you might be thinking, hell no, I don't want Devin White. Highest PFF grade overall is a 46 in the last 4 seasons. Highest run defense grade is a 42.6 over the last 4 seasons. His pass rush grades have been pretty solid. His coverage grades are pretty abysmal. And I know what you're thinking, right? No, I don't want him. Do you see those numbers, Joey? Those are low. Low numbers mean bad when PFF grades aren't being talked about. But Devin White is just one of those guys that analytics necessarily isn't kind to. Because one of those stats up there was his 2020 season, the year that Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl, and he was phenomenal that year, right? So no, the analytics necessarily aren't kind to a guy like Devin White. But he's a guy, he passes the eye test. He jumps off the page. He's one of those guys that you notice on the football field when you're watching a game. And I think most importantly, I think he fits with this team, right? I think he can fit in this rotation. Roquan Smith has had a good season. He's had his fair share of struggles through the first 3 weeks. Trenton Simpson's been great as well, right? Stepping up for Patrick Queen, who's kind of been abysmal in Pittsburgh. But I think Devin White could just be another piece. And I don't think it costs you that much either. I talked to Eagles Now host Chase Sr. He said he thinks it'd be probably somewhere around a 6th-round pick, right? Nothing crazy. You get Devin White, you give up a 6th-round pick, you get a guy that can help you, honestly, get to a Super Bowl. He can help you get to a Super Bowl. He's great at getting to the passer. He's great at making tackles in the open field. Now, you got to wonder, and you got to ask yourself the question, did the signing of Yannick Ngakoue on Monday kind of change things around for this, right? Because maybe they're not necessarily looking for a pass rusher as much anymore. But if I'm Eric DeCosta, if I'm John Harbaugh, if I'm Zach Orr, this is a guy I want on my team. So pick one. If you had to pick one out of two, Jonathan Jones or Devin White. Type JJ down below. Type DW for Devin White. If I'm you, guys, I think I'm going with Devin White. I really do. I just think he's a better fit. I think Jonathan Jones might cost more than I'd be willing to give, and not because I don't think he deserves it, but because I think he got the horses in the stable in the secondary. I really do. So you guys let me know. I think he's a fit, but I'm going to leave it up to you guys in the comment section. Guys, I called for it earlier. Make sure you follow me on social media. I'm at 65 followers. Would love to get to 780 by the end of this week. You can find me at Joey Peterson 8. That's where I am. So find me there. Make sure you spell my last name right. I tweet about the Ravens every single day. I tweet out clips from these episodes just in case you miss one. You can go ahead and find it on Twitter. And as always, go ahead and hit that sub button.